Hello there friends and welcome. Today we have at last the Gold Dragon Mythic Path guide for our Pathfinder video. The Gold Dragon Path is actually probably the most versatile Mythic Path of them all because it has a lot of powerful abilities that will highly empower both your melee and also spellcasting side, regardless of the class you were before, so someone like a lowly sorcerer can still achieve amazing attack bonus. In any case, your Gold Dragon can be adept at quite everything, with many powerful buffs and healing spells, together with even amazing damage ones too with little investment from Angel, that you'll get to keep as a Gold Dragon, and lastly of course, the ability to turn into the ultimate dragon form possible, with an amazing number of attacks per round and damage, as you destroy enemies with your teeth, claws, wings and even a tail slap. Also, don't forget you can still fight in human form if you want under the Gold Dragon Mythic Path, while retaining all of these amazing bonuses. So without further ado, let us get into our Gold Dragon Mythic Path guide. Well, alright, so first I want to cover the main mechanics of the Gold Dragon Path, together with its most powerful abilities and how they work. As with any late game Mythic Path, you'll only get your Gold Dragon abilities starting from Mythic 8. First we have Perfect Body. You'll get immunity to poison, disease, fear, confusion, paralysis and sleep. Fine, but at this point it's kinda easy to get immunities to these effects through spells. You'll also gain energy resistance equal to your character level plus half your mythic rank, which is quite decent. Now is when we start getting the abilities that make Gold Dragon so versatile. First, whenever your saving throw bonuses before modifiers is less than 5 plus your mythic rank, you gain a bonus up to that number, which means it's pretty easy to achieve high saving throws with all scores as a Gold Dragon. Right, we have a +9 to Reflex, which is our lowest save as a Druid. Even our highest save, Will and Fortitude, also get a +3. Now, if any of your attributes before modifiers is less than 14, you'll gain a bonus up to that number. So once again, it's also easy for a Gold Dragon to have decent scores in all of your attributes, including ones you absolutely dumped. For example, I started with 7 intelligence, yet Perfect Mind gives me a +11. Fourth, your highest ability score will get a +4 bonus. In my case, Strength. And of course it's higher here because these abilities will be upgraded on further mythic ranks to become even more powerful with higher bonuses. Besides that, all of your hit dice will now become 12. Your Gold Dragon will have high hit points no matter their class, even if you started with the lowest hit point classes like Wizard and Sorcerer. For another great benefit, all of your spells dealing damage will now change their dice to d6, if it wasn't higher than that, and if it was, the spell will deal 1 additional point of damage per dice rolled. It's already good enough at this point because most of the spells are d6, right? So if anything, you'll still get the bonus damage per dice rolled. Lastly, all of your weapons will count as +5 weapons, pretty good too because you don't have to waste time enchanting them with spells like Magic Weapon or Magic Fang. Last but not least, for your Mythic 8 power, we have the Gold Dragon Breath. You can use this in both dragon and also human form. It has quite a massive cone range, so can easily hit all of the enemy pack. Right, it's a 50-foot cone, hits enemies only, no friendly fire, and will deal your character level plus half mythic rank times d8 as holy damage. A successful reflex saving throw will halve the damage, but it's quite easy to achieve extreme DC with this ability. My Gold Dragon, for example, has 66 DC. Anyways, the breath isn't just for damage because it can also debuff the enemy, as any enemy hit will take a -1 penalty on all d20 rolls. Meanwhile, if they fail their reflex saving throw for full damage, the penalty will become double, -2. It's certainly a nice enough debuff to have. Now, there's 2 major weaknesses of Gold Dragon Breath, however. First, it has a cooldown. You can only use it once every 1d4 rounds. I'm not sure why, because the damage, as I'm about to show you, isn't really that good. Second, the Dragon Breath is actually a standard action, which is quite limiting because it means you can't attack at the same round you use this. Sure, you can cast a Swift spell, but that's about it. You are mostly stuck to just using the breath for that round. The main issue is, well, the damage isn't really good, I'm afraid. At most, it will do around 1/3 to half of the weaker enemy's health. It's not going to deal much damage against Mythic Demons, however, who have very high bloated hit point score at this point. On average, it's going to be something like 120 damage per breath cast if they fail the save. Now let's cover our Mythic rank 9 Gold Dragon abilities, starting of course with the Gold Dragon form, which as you might have expected lets you change into a Gold Dragon at will, that is, you have infinite uses of this and it also lasts permanently. You can always switch between human and dragon form on demand. Now, my main issue with this ability is I'm not sure why they decided to design it like this. This special Gold Dragon form actually has exactly the same stats as the dragon forms from the Shape Change or the Dragon Kind 3 spells, which means for the character I have prepared for this guide, a Druid, you can achieve the exact same form as far as stats as early as level 13. So why bother waiting until Mythic 9 for something that's exactly the same? That's my point. To me, it should definitely offer higher stats than the other dragon forms, because after all this is Mythic Path specific and quite late game. In any case, it's still a decent enough form. With many attacks per round you can achieve around 8, and a great boost to your physical stats too, especially strength. Second, we have Perfect Mind. You'll gain immunity to all mind-affecting effects, which is great because these are the worst type of crowd control the enemies use on you, especially confusion. Also, spell resistance equal to 15 plus your character level and half your mythic rank. It can become respectable enough at 40, at max mythic and level. Second, and this is one of the best boosts, if your base attack bonus is less than 15 plus mythic rank, you'll gain a bonus up to that number. It's of course way better for spellcasters, right? A class like a fighter, a ranger, someone that already had high base attack bonus including a shifter wouldn't get much from this. But for the caster classes, especially wizard and sorcerer who have the worst base attack bonus progression, this will essentially set your base attack bonus to the max, no matter your previous class. My Druid, for example, has a plus 10 from Perfect Mind, for a total of 25 base attack bonus. If your class already had high base attack bonus, you would still gain a plus 5 boost to it for 25 instead of 20 BAB, which means Gold Dragon, just like Trickster and Legend, are the only 3 mythic paths that can actually increase your base attack bonus beyond 20, which does result in an extra attack per round, together with higher bonuses from mythic power attack too. But like I said, casters are the ones that have the most to gain from this. Third, all skills will become class skills for you, and if you have less ranks in a skill than your mythic rank, you'll gain a bonus up to that number. Which means you can also achieve very high skills with your Gold Dragon, but of course, it's also going to depend on your intelligence. That is, how many skill points you get per level. My character has pretty low skills, but if you were, let's say, a wizard with high intelligence and a lot of skill points, you would get very high skills overall. The bonuses don't end there, because if any of your attributes before modifiers is less than 18, you'll gain a bonus up to that number, so it's basically an upgrade over a perfect body. The bonus to your highest ability score will also increase to plus 6, instead of plus 4. Lastly, any spells dealing damage will now change their dice to d8 instead of d6. And just like the one from Perfect Body, if it was already d8 or greater, you'll get a plus 1 bonus to damage per die rolled. This is of course the first great upgrade to the Hellfire Ray spell, which is d6. Because it fires multiple times per cast, 3 at max power, and you can even cast it twice per round for 6 entire rays, well, let's just say the higher the dice and the higher the bonuses to damage per die, the better for you. The last Mythic 9 benefit is actually quite powerful too. You'll get 3 feats, that's right, 3 entire feats that you can pick from pretty much anything, just like the Lore Master feat selection screen. Even ignoring the prerequisites, the best uses are of course to get feats like Shatter Defenses, which are prerequisite heavy, and feats that you wouldn't be able to get with your class otherwise, for example Weapon Specialization and Greater Weapon Specialization, which are fighter exclusive feats, and we are a Druid for this character. Depending on the feat you pick, you can also later qualify for the mythic version of it, like Mythic Weapon Specialization. And nope, you cannot pick the special Trickster critical feats with this. You have to be a Trickster for that, but you can still retain them as a dragon later on. Now we are at last at Mythic 10, and we get an even bigger upgrade to our Perfect Body and Mind ability, this time Perfect Soul. You'll get immunity to all energy damage, cold, fire, acid and electricity, together with changing all of your damage, no matter the source, into holy damage, which is great because it's, well, irresistible. Second, your spells will gain an even bigger upgrade, changing from D8 to D10, even better for Hellfire Ray, which means you now deal 15 D10 per each individual Hellfire Ray cast. And lastly, the bonus to your highest ability score will increase to +8 instead of +6. It's a fun enough upgrade. As far as the spell increase that is, changing the damage into holy is okay, but you can just use the Bane of Spirit Ring way earlier for that anyways. The main issue with Mythic 10 as always is that it comes extremely late game, right before the final boss only, so unless you're planning on playing the first DLC, Inevitable Access, you won't really get much gameplay time with Mythic 10. But at the very least for Gold Dragon, the BAB increase, which is one of the best bonuses, comes at Mythic 9. Now that we already know how the main mechanics behind Gold Dragon work, let's cover the synergy it has with other Mythic Paths. After all, it is a late game Mythic, so it will have to be something else before. Well, it's pretty much the same logic as any late game Mythic. Merged Angel and Lich for spellcasters, full ones that is, like Wizard, Sorcerer, Oracle, Druid, Cleric. I already have a guide explaining the merging mechanics, because this way you get to retain the best part of Lich and Angel, the Mythic spells. That's right, you'll get all of them on your spell book. Even better for Gold Dragon because their special Mythic Cloak will increase the number of level 9 spells you get by 2 extra slots. And both the Lich and Angel ones are extremely powerful. For any other type of character, Trickster is, as always, the way to go, because this way you get to retain the special Trickster critical feats, which are also amazing on their own and truly game changers. Remember, even your party members will still get to retain these feats, so it's not just about the Gold Dragon themselves. And by the way, as far as I have tested, the Perfect Body, Mind and Soul bonuses to spells only work with that spells. For example, Kinetic's abilities don't really work with this, unfortunately. Better just save it all for the tasty Hellfire Ray. Now, before getting into our actual Gold Dragon build, let's just do a quick section on how to unlock the Gold Dragon Path. It's pretty simple, basically only 2 steps. First, you need to loot Terendalev's Scale, which is very easy to do because it's right at the very start of the game. I mean, it's even outlined by a massive shining aura, and you can find 2 of them. The next step is to show the scale to the storyteller, which you can do even as early as chapter 1 at the tavern. The second step comes at chapter 2, but you can also do it at chapter 3 if you prefer. In the Leper Smile area, after you defeat the boss, the Vescover Queen, you can enter the underground caves there. Inside, to the left of the area, there's a big corridor. You can find a damage cart. In the same place you fight a lot of ghouls. Interact with it to find a new item, Terendalev's Claw. Now wait until chapter 3 so you can show it to the storyteller, as he will be missing for most of chapter 2, and you'll get a new map area revealed, Terendalev's Lair. All you have to do now is head there, meet the Gold Dragon NPC. The last step, I mean, it's not really a step, but just in case you don't want to miss it, at chapter 5 when you return to Dresden, you'll meet the same Gold Dragon NPC again. Just be sure to pick the good option there, and you'll have unlocked the Gold Dragon path for when you reach Mythic rank 8. Well, alright, now let us get into our Gold Dragon build. The class I've chosen for this character is Druid and Elemental Rampager. The main reasons I prefer Druid instead of the Dragon Blood Shifter is, well, first, we are a full spellcaster, right, with up to level 9 spells, and by merging with Angel we get even better. Overpowered even. As I said before, you also get access to the ultimate dragon form way earlier than the Dragon Shifter, which can only do it when you become a Gold Dragon at Mythic 9. And as far as your base attack bonus progression being lower, it doesn't matter, because remember, Gold Dragon will set your BAB to the max anyways, regardless of your class. Now, the main reason for picking Elemental Rampager, as opposed to other Druid archetypes, besides being a class I've never covered before, and it has been requested a lot in the past, it's actually the Druid that has the highest potential damage with natural attacks. And well, when I think about Gold Dragon, I imagine if someone went the Gold Dragon path, at least for me, they want to become a dragon, right? So you want to fight in full dragon form, the actual true dragon form, with your natural attacks, bites, claws, wings, tail and so on. The Elemental Rampager will certainly achieve very high damage with that. Now, the main benefit of Elemental Rampager is the fact it gets an ability similar to the Barbarian Rage, Rampage. It will increase your attack and damage rolls with natural weapons. There's a penalty to armor class which doesn't really matter for this build because you'll have access to reach. Just like a shifter, you can also grow claws at will, and your rage rampage ability will get further boosts as you level, the best one being electricity rampage, so you get an effect similar to chain lightning. Whenever you hit an enemy, nearby enemies will also be hit by lightning. Now there is one major downside to the elemental rampager, which is the fact you do not get a pet at all. And also the main reason I didn't really cover Elemental Rampager before, because as you might already know, I really like pets. So if it was not for the fact that I wanted to show a new Druid archetype, I would much rather go with Primal Druid if you want to still focus on the wild shapes and later the dragon forms, or Druvier Druid if you don't care about the Druid wild shapes, you still get the dragon ones, mostly for the communal aspect abilities, which are party-wide. And nowadays it's very easy to get your whole party to benefit from the Master Shapeshifter mythic ability by just using this. For race, I strongly recommend you go with human because druids are lacking in feats. They don't get any bonus feats whatsoever, outside of the ones you'll get at Mythic 9 as a gold dragon. The good thing is, because you'll be going with angel first, you don't need to bother with spellcasting boosting feats, as angel just bypasses that anyways. For background you have two choices, Street Urchin and Pickpocket if you want the highest initiative, or, because early game you won't really have very high AC, right, this character isn't built for tanking, rather damage, and it takes a while until you get access to reach, through let's say size spells or the lunge feat, you might consider going with Warrior and Mercenary because this provides you with long spear proficiency, and long spears are reach weapons, which means as early as level 1 you can attack from safety behind your allies. The choice is up to you, or you can just have someone like Amelia cast a large person on you for the early game, and still attack with a scimitar or later the animal form until you get the dragon shapes. For your stats, unlike Dungeons & Dragons 3rd edition, whenever you change into a different form, you'll only get bonuses on top of what you already have. Your stats will not be set to that of the forms. Which means you do want very high physical scores, to be further boosted by your shapes, especially the dragon ones, which offer a lot of strength. 19 is more than enough at character creation. Intelligence can be safely dumped, even as low as 7. Together with charisma, I'm afraid. You don't have to, right, but you can do it, because they don't offer much for this build. You can then go with 14 constitution, then 14 dexterity, and lastly 16 wisdom, so you can cast all of the spells in the game, including the angel ones, by just equipping gear that boosts your wisdom. For your skill points, I would just go with athletics. Because of our high strength, then lore, nature and perception, we have decent wisdom. But as far as these two skills, you can also pick something else if you prefer. Now as far as feats, is the classic package for melee characters, right? We want power attack and cleave. I'm afraid the extra attack from cleave right at level 1, well, there's just nothing else that compares in the game. Right, as a druid you would only get a second attack at level 8. Plus cleave will still work with, let's say, the animal forms like wolf, which only have a single attack per round. For deity, pick any that allows the good alignments, because you have to be an angel first. Like, let's say, Siren Ray. And then you have to be neutral good, because druids can only be neutral good as far as the good alignments. For level 3 we want, as always, Cleaving Finish for yet another potential extra attack per round, this time whenever we kill an enemy. Quite easy to do because you'll be focused into damage. At level 4, go with Strength, also what you want to increase on all of the other levels. Now as far as your Rampage ability at level 4, I would go with Electricity. It's the most unique one of them all, like I said. At level 11 you'll get the Chain Discharge ability, which lets you do additional elemental damage to 2 more enemies next to your target. This will then be upgraded to the greater version at level 20 for 4 potential additional targets. The other Rampage abilities, they just don't offer something as fun. And while it is true that demons are immune to electricity, by the time you get the Discharge ability, right, level 11, you'll have access to the Bane of Spirit Ring anyways to convert all your damage into irresistible. For level 5, Combat Reflexes is the way to go because you won't really have space for it later on, and through your forms you can achieve decent enough dexterity as far as getting more attacks of opportunity, especially when you consider the boost from Master Shapeshifter. For level 7, I'm afraid it's going to be the classic Outflank. Nothing really is as good at this level for pretty much any melee character, including even your pets. For level 9, Lunge is the way to go. We definitely want the extra reach from this. so you can stack both your size spells with lunge. This way, even when fighting under the gold dragon form, despite the fact you are a huge dragon, you can easily attack behind your allies without having to worry about 1. Being hit, because you won't have high AC, and 2. Blocking your characters. For level 11, improved critical as always. And if you want to fight in dragon form, Claw is the way to go. Claws are your primary attack as a dragon, you have 2 of them, 3 with haste. Plus, all of your attacks of opportunity will also be claws. On the other hand, if you want to fight in human form, scimitars are the way to go, but in this case, I wouldn't have gone with Elemental Rampager, pick something else instead. For level 13 plus, you have a few different options. You can, for example, get started into the Shattered Defenses package with Weapon Focus and Dazzling Display. It's just that, as I've explained before, as a Gold Dragon at Mythic 9 you can get this for free anyways, bypassing the annoying requirements. If you want a more versatile character that can also fight in human form, you can get a second improved critical here, this time with, let's say, scimitars. For me, I would just go with improved initiative. It always helps to act first before the enemy. Note that because at this point, you'll get the Merged Angel spells, including even level 9 ones at Mythic 4, you can also pick Bolster's spell to further empower your Bolt and Storm of Justice, the ultimate angel damage spells, which you'll get to retain as a Gold Dragon. Or just delay this for later. So I'll just go with improved initiative for now. For level 15, well, even if we don't need weapon focus for this build to get Shattered Defenses, I would still pick it into Claw, because later you can also pick greater weapon focus as a dragon for free, despite not being a fighter. Or like I said, there's always Bolster's spell. At level 17 I would just pick another improved critical. This time, Bite is the way to go. You only have 1 bite as a dragon, but your other attacks, the wing and tail slaps, I don't think you can improve them through this feat. A bit strange, because I mean we have even access to tentacles. And I'm pretty sure before the upgrades to this feat through Shifter, you could specialize into other natural attacks to boost the critical range of those attacks. So Bite is the way to go. Like I said, because you only have 1 bite, that's the main reason I don't pick this feat before as opposed to the Claw improved critical. It's not really necessary, it's just that at this point you already have the best feats anyways. As for the last feat at 19, well, if you didn't pick Bolster's spell, now is the way to go. But of course, if you don't want to bother with the angel damage spells, then pick anything you want. Heighten will still help with spellbook flexibility, the same as Extend. As far as natural spell, the main reason I don't pick this is because dragons are innate spellcasters, which means under dragon form you can cast your spells just fine. This is just for the animal forms. And as far as them, well, first you only have them for the early game. Second, you can just buff yourself and then change into the animal forms, right? You don't need natural spell. Alright, now let us give a mythic progression for our Angel Gold Dragon. For the first ascension, close to the abyss is as always the best for this type of character because the extra gore attack is great, especially considering how high our strength will be when combined with the dragon forms and Master Shapeshifter. For mythic level 1 you have a few different options. Last Stand is definitely what I would pick if you were on Unfair. After all, it's a game over if your main character dies. For Hardened Core though I don't think it's necessary because at this point you'll have Reach anyways. You can then go with Master Shapeshifter, which is highly helpful for this build, even if you just wanted to fight in human form, because druids have access to all the animal aspect spells which are polymorph. While they don't change your shape, you'll still get to benefit from the huge boost from Master Shapeshifter to all physical scores. Or if you prefer to have higher spell slots earlier, go with Abundant Casting and you can, for example, delay Master Shapeshifter until you get the dragon forms at Mythic 4. I'll be picking it now, however. For Mythic 2 we want to focus into our spellcasting with Abundant Casting. Like I said, we'll be merging with Angel, and Angel has loads and loads of extremely powerful spells. Even if you don't want to use them for damage, the buffs are still essential for any party. So the Abundant Casting line of abilities is the way to go. For Mythic 3, improved Abundant Casting. And as far as Mythic 4, extra Mythic, greater Abundant Casting. At this point you'll already have level 9 spells, both Druid and Angel ones. Or like I said, you can delay Master Shapeshifter for now. For Mythic 5, Ever Ready is the way to go. We can now focus into our martial side better. This is one of the best Mythic abilities because of how amazing attacks of opportunity are. For Mythic 6, let's go with Mythic Power Attack. You have around 8 attacks in dragon form, and this will boost all of those attacks, with quite a high amount of extra damage. For Mythic 7, the choice is up to you. I'll be going with Mythic Charge just because I really like charging. And the extra damage can really help, especially because this character gets 2 pieces of gear that further boosts their charge damage. Of course, because at this point you already have the Lightning Discharge Rampage ability, you can always go for Ascended Element and Electricity. I just don't think it's that needed because, like I said, you have the Bane of Spirit Ring, and later your Gold Dragon will convert all damage into Holy anyways, even if you didn't care for the ring. But it's an option if you prefer. As far as Mythic 8, well, at this point you might as well pick Mythic Critical into Claws. The main reason I don't pick this earlier for this build is that Claws have somewhat low critical range, even when boosted by Improved Critical. Of course, if you were a Trickster before, which can achieve amazing critical range even with Claws, then you certainly would consider picking this earlier at Mythic 4. As for Mythic 9, like I said, we have 3 Special Dragon feats that can be anything. Well, almost anything. I would rather focus into the Fighter Special ones, so Weapon Specialization, Claw, or whatever weapon type you went with if you didn't go for a Shape-Shifting Dragon build. Then we might as well also pick Greater Weapon Specialization into Claws, for a total of +4 damage, even higher when we get Mythic Weapon Specialization. Lastly, don't forget to pick Shatter Defenses for free. It is true that this build only gets Shatter Defenses at Mythic 9, but look, the Angel buffs, they carry you hard, trust me. You don't really need this earlier. As for your Mythic 9 ability, well, you might as well pick Last Stand now if you didn't get it before. And as far as Mythic 10, you have 2 choices. Mythic Initiative, or in my case, Mythic Weapon Specialization, Claw, for a total of +5 extra damage. Well, alright, now let us cover gear for our Gold Dragon Shapeshifter. For the amulet, as always, Valexias, especially because for this character in particular, because you are a druid, you can just cast the Greater Magic Fang spell to enhance your natural attacks to the max, which means you don't have to rely on the amulets that enhance natural attacks, even early game. Armor doesn't really matter for this character at all because the bonuses will not transfer to your dragon form, as opposed to pretty much all of the other gear types. Shirts also don't really matter for you. I have the Shroud of Eternal Hunger here, which can enhance natural attacks, but I believe nowadays it doesn't stack anymore with the actual enhancement value from, let's say, Greater Magic Fang, so feel free to ignore this. Now for the belt of the Last of the First Humans is of course the ultimate new belt in the game for any melee character that's not, let's say, a demon. The massive boost to both attack and damage is, to put it simply, quite overpowered, especially when considered the other effects like double initiative rolls and even reflecting any offensive spells the enemies cast on you automatically and permanently. It comes from the Shifter DLC and I've already explained how to get it in my latest guide. Gloves also kinda don't matter for this build in particular. I mean, if you went with Fighter, at least 5 levels of Fighter with weapon training, you could use Fencer's Gift. But as a druid, it's mostly just going to be Aurelius embroidered gloves. For a bit more AC and saving throws, like I said, it doesn't matter, you can go with anything here. For boots, Boots of Stampede are my preferred choice because of the extra boost to charge as we have high athletics. But earlier during Chapter 3, you can also go with the Cat's Boots, while combining it with the Owl's Cowl as far as a helmet. While these items are better for the actual Shifter class, they still have decent enough benefits for you. Although the ultimate helmet for this character is definitely Hat of the Bitter End from the Treasure of Midnight Isles DLC. The stacking bonus to attack rolls is absurd, to put it simply. You can also combine it with another fun Treasure of Midnight Isles DLC item, the Broken Trickster Glasses. This way, you get a huge bonus to Wisdom, together with a very nice tanking ability just in case. Although earlier, you can also go with the Mask of Rapid Bites. All of your animal forms, including the dragon forms, they have a bite attack, right? With this mask, you'll get a free attack per round as another bite. Plus, you can get it very early as Chapter 2 even, so your Gold Dragon could achieve something like 9 attacks per round instead of 8. It also comes from the Shifter DLC. Now, as far as cloaks, you might as well go with the Special Gold Dragon Cloak, because it will provide 2 extra spell slots for level 9 spells, quite good, but of course, it won't do anything if you aren't a spellcaster, which is why I prefer going with, let's say, Druid, and your other full caster, like Sorcerer, Wizard, Witch, Oracle, Shaman, you know the drill. Lastly, you'll also get to increase your Dragon Breath damage, something very welcome, because as I said before, the Dragon Breath doesn't really have high damage. together with an increase to DC as well. For rings, I went with Ring of Evasion because I like the extra defensive capabilities it gives you. Of course, don't forget the Ring of Triumphant Advance, the best in slot for pretty much any build, for even higher bonuses to both attack and damage. And lastly, as bracers, the Bracers of the Mighty Boar. The +6 enhancement to strength is very welcome because the Belt of the Last of the First Humans doesn't increase your stats at all. So if you want that high strength, be sure to go with it. And lastly, the fact it will triple your base damage for your first charge attack with a natural hit, well, it's amazing. Now let us cover weapons and Quickslots for our Gold Dragon. Well, for weapons, we are fighting for claws, teeth, wings, tails, so we don't really need one. But very early game, before you get access to the animal forms or the dragon ones, like I said, long spears are quite a welcome addition when it comes to keeping your character safe. Just remember you need proficiency with them, so the mercenary background. Or as a druid, scimitar is the second best choice. It doesn't have reach, but it has amazing critical range and there's plenty of powerful scimitars in the game. So the choice is up to you. If you find you're having a hard time keeping your druid alive early, just go with long spears. You'll still deal high damage with them because of your huge strength. As far as Quickslots, well, we are a full spellcaster, so we want some meta magic rods. Just remember, this is very important, when you are under any form, you will lose access to your usable item stab, that is your Quickslots, which means you cannot use wands or anything else under a different shape. So be sure to activate them while still in human form first. Greater Quicken is always welcome for a swift spell, which you can even combine with your Dragon Breath. Jarsigax for extra damage, plus it is a dragon that's involved in the Gold Dragon Mythic quest. The rest is just meta magic rods for damage like Devouring Lust, but most importantly the Grandmaster's Rod. Just the Signet of House Vespertilio here, to increase any skill of choice. And unfortunately, I don't think you can benefit from the Triceratops statuette for a free pet, because the pet will disappear once you change into a dragon. Well, I mean, if you want to remain in human form, then you can get the dinosaur pet. Well, alright friends, so this was it for my Gold Dragon Mythic Path guide. Now that we have truly finished all of the Mythic Paths, the next guide will be a Mythic Path tier list, as I know a lot of you would like to know my thoughts on that. If you found this guide useful, as always, please remember to like and subscribe, and also consider becoming a channel member. I'd really appreciate your support. Thank you for watching, see you next time, friends.